Hey everyone, just popping in to let you know that I have been doing a series recently on how to play certain archetypes of characters. This video is an older one that I had in my drafts and I did want to get it out, but that series is going nowhere. I'm having a blast making them and I will continue to do so don't worry about that. This is just a little bit of variety to spice things up while I'm still pumping out those videos, and you'll be getting more starting this Monday. I also wanted to say that I was super thankful because I had a goal of hitting 15K by the end of the year and we have already hit that with still 15 days to spare. And honestly, with the rate that we're going right now, I fully expect us to potentially hit 16,000 by the end of the year. I honestly had doubts we would even hit that goal, so being able to beat it by over 1,000 is just mind-blowing to me, and I cannot thank you guys enough. I did promise a reward if we reach that goal, and I'm currently doing a vote to figure out exactly what I'm going to do. If you go to my community post, you can find that poll, and the voting ends by today by 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please go vote for what you want me to do because I really want to thank you guys for the amazing gift that you've given me. Anyways, let's start the video, but seriously, thank you. I would not be able to do this without all of you. So, character death. This is a big topic that's been covered a lot in the D&D community. You can actually find countless videos of people talking about how to handle character death and what character death is and what to do when it happens. I'm not going to provide any extremely new insights on those topics. It's already been done. People have talked about it. Even Matthew Mercer already made a small little DM video about it. At the end of the day, character death is a huge part of D&D and it's very important. But I did want to talk about something in particular, and it's something that I do when a character dies in my campaign. And let me make it very clear, I've actually never permanently killed a PC, and it hasn't been for lack of trying. There's been many times where it could have happened and the players barely managed to get out the quick thinking. However, it is something that I'm prepared for, and it's something that I'm always aware is a possibility. So I want to talk about specifically what I do when this happens and how to make your players feel more comfortable with character death. It's not to make them feel just okay about it. They're losing something important to them, and I'm not going to try and remove that. But it's a way of giving them closure of their characters. So let's talk about that. So in my campaign, I have one very specific rule. When your character dies, you get one free action. Out of initiative, out of combat, the moment that your character drops down and you lose all of your death saving throws, that is when you get one free action, breaking initiative. But there's a few caveats. You can only take the action. There is no movement, there is no bonus actions, a single action. You cannot save your own life with this action. Your fate has already been sealed. Your thread has already been cut. You are dying. There's nothing that's going to save you. Even a cure wounds, even if it heals your body, does not bring your soul back to you. So what do you do with that action? And there's a specific reason that I do this. A player character, when they die, they never expect that to happen. Even if they're going to a situation knowing it's deadly, there's always the thought that there's something more that you can do. You will have another chance, another option. Yes, I'm rolling these death saving throws, but what if I roll a natural 20 or one of my teammates will get to me and heal me in time? So when it finally does happen, there's one thing I have always seen happen in my players' faces. A moment of regret, of grief. And why not? Why would they not? This is a character they spent time with. They wanted to see go somewhere and they just died. It's heartbreaking. But there's more than that. It's because they wanted to be able to take something and do something better with it. If a character's going to die, you want that to be dramatic, you want it to be meaningful, but because of the way that D&D works, the rules don't support that. They make character death boring because you have to roll these death saving throws and all the time you're unconscious. And so when you die, you never got the chance to do something. Very rarely does a player character get downed and be able to do what they wanted to do.
He had a heart attack, he died, so what?
So what? And there's a lot of different ways of thinking about this, but essentially, unless your player, which this is very rare, but if your player went into a situation knowing they were most likely about to get downed to die, that's one thing. But for the most part, when most people get downed, they don't expect it because they made a mistake. And then they have to make those death saving throws and the death ends up being not meaningful. And I find that really discouraging for a lot of them. And that's why I try and spend a lot of time giving the players a chance to make their character's death memorable, because that helps them move on. It helps them grieve them, but know that their character did something, that their character will be remembered, they were important to the story. And I'll give an example for this. Early on in one of my campaigns, they got into a fight they shouldn't have. They encountered a boss encounter and jumped headfirst into it. They went looking for danger. death was on the table. And I made it very clear and upfront that this enemy that they were facing was hugely powerful. And they did hold their own against him. They were doing wonderful, but he did end up downing the Warlock, and then he downed the Druid. And no one was able to get to them. This character was on his last leg. This villain was about to die. He had 4 HP left. And they had managed to cripple him so that he only had half his movement speed. So he was not going to escape, which meant he had one option. He could use all of his movement speed to get to either the downed Druid or the downed Warlock and take somebody down with him. In this moment, there was nothing else for this villain to do. He was too prideful to try and beg for his life, and so I had to choose which PC I was going to kill. This was very early on in the campaign, session 5. Nobody expected character death this quickly. So I rolled a dice, he approached the Druid, and he drove the axe into the Druid's heart. And I looked at the player and said, your character is going to die. What do you do with your last action? They knew this villain was on his last leg. They knew probably anything would kill him. And so the Druid reached up his hand and began to conjure a thunder wave to at least take this person down with him. And at the last second, he changed it to a healing word and brought the Warlock back to life.
You didn't see that coming.
In that moment, he chose to make the end of his character's life worth something. He chose to give up removing the person who was about to kill him for getting revenge to save the Warlock who had been nothing but a jerk to him. And in that moment, he defined his character. If that had been the end of his character, I guarantee you he would have been happy with it. But because of that moment of him healing the Warlock, when the Warlock came up, she reminded everybody that she actually had a potion of Revivify given to them in one of the very first sessions. I had totally forgotten about this. I thought the Druid was about to die, but they managed to save him because of that. Truly a spectacular moment, one that I loved. But it really defines for me why I use this rule for character death. Because if he had just died right then and there, no pomp, no circumstance, his character would not have been able to do anything. It would have been quiet, soft, nothing, like a light being snuffed out because the wick went out. Nothing important, nothing to be remembered for. And that just makes it so hard to grieve a character because you feel like they could have done more. And giving them a chance to do more really sets the stage for them to be able to bring that character into an important memory for the campaign and change it forever. Now, have I ever killed a character permanently? No. It has not happened yet. Many times it's been close, but my players are smart. They managed to always get them a Revivify or managed to save them one way or another. But it's still something that was memorable because of that rule. So I would suggest finding something similar. You don't have to copy my rule, though you have every bit of permission. Find something similar to make a character death important to your players. And if you can do that, you'll feel wonderful, and hopefully your players will feel better about a character death and be able to make an important impact before the character sings their final swan song. So hopefully this advice helps. Go out into the world and make it your own, you beautiful bastards. Don't forget to have a great day, and never forget to play your role. Thank you. Come again.